What's your favorite part about this part of life for you?
I think interacting with people, to be able to learn. I have a little saying that I quote all the time: the day you stop learning is the day you stop living. So whether it's us in a conversation, or whether it's through the conversation today at the breakfast, or with someone last night at a little reception we had, you're learning about people. And I think that every day you need to know more than you did yesterday, and tomorrow I'm going to need more than I know today. And it's just a learning process that goes along. And that's one of the things I enjoy now. I wasn't a great student. I mean, I could care less. I mean, football or athletics and girls were my priority when I was in high school. That's changed considerably. But still, to be able to get out and do things, to be able to share with people. And it's amazing how society is changing so fast. There's so many different things that are changing in society. But the other part of it is there are fundamental elements of our life that don't change. It's like a reason to get up in the morning. Admiral McRaven wrote a book called Make Your Bed. And he was a Navy SEAL, and one of the highest ranking. And what he did was, the military, they start by making their bed every morning. So basically, as you start your day, you've already accomplished something. And it's just a question of creating disciplines in your life so that you get up and say, okay, I did something. That leads to something else, that leads to something else, that leads to something else. Before you know it, you've accomplished a whole lot in the course of a day, and it all started by making your bed.
Cool. A couple football questions. Dolphins, obviously, quarterback's such a huge position. How should they look at the health of Tua and make that decision ultimately?
I think that's going to be one of the toughest decisions to make. I mean, obviously, he's going to work out on the 9th, from what I understand, so you'll get a better idea what he looks like physically. Right now, it's difficult to evaluate. Didn't do anything at the combine. Terrific kid. I personally, I don't see his arm being that strong. And that was the element that I saw in him. Comes out of a great program. I mean, we have so many guys from Alabama with the Redskins. It's like, it's crazy. I mean, it's like between Ohio State and Alabama, we may as well just go to crimson and gray or whatever. But it's, I think it's got to be a position that they really need to take a hard look at, and health is going to be a big factor. I mean, he has a history. And in our business, whatever he went through at the collegiate level, multiply that tenfold, because the speed of the athlete, the requirements on your body are all very, very different. But with 3 number ones, I think they're in a very unique position. And I don't see Mike Brown in the Cincinnati Bengals trading out of that 1 pick. I think Joe Burrow goes to Cincinnati 1. Chase Young goes to the Redskins at 2. After that, it's a crapshoot. After that, you're going to see probably more wheeling and dealing in this draft, especially at the quarterback position, than we've seen, because there's some very, very high-powered free agents also.
And then finally, start off that with the Redskins. What do you make of the rumors of them potentially going the Tua route?
I think there are rumors. I have placed no credence in them whatsoever. And if you really break it down, it doesn't make sense, because you just drafted Dwayne Haskins last year, and you really don't know how good Dwayne is. Only played 7 games, was hurt in basically 2 of them, didn't play the last game, limped around in 1 of them. Put up 3 really good performances, but that's 3 out of 7, or what would be a 16-game schedule, soon to be a 17-game schedule. So, I don't think the evaluation process is complete. New coach, new system. To throw him out and bring somebody in would be crazy. And if you did try to trade him, what do you get? I mean, what's his value? So Dwayne is one of those entities right now that you don't know exactly how it's going to work out. You don't know what his value would be anyplace else. And so in that regard, I think you stay with him. And you're going to a 4-3 defense. Chase Young fits right in. It's not like it's a 3-4, and he's going to be a 2-technique defensive end. He can wreak havoc. Now, how good he's going to be, hopefully great.
Cool. Thank you.
And just kind of picking up, already talked a lot about the why and why you're here coming to speak. What do you think, you kind of touched on it a little bit, I mean, we're in a totally different world compared to when you were a youth, and the social media craze and everything else. How do you think people can kind of establish kind of their willpower when they have so many negative things coming on the outside to kind of push through, take that next step, be it athletic or education?
You know, it's really a, I guess you could almost call it a little bit of a dilemma for young people today, because there's so many options. You know, back when I grew up, there weren't options. It's just like television. It was ABC, NBC, CBS. That was it. Those were your three channels. Now, 1,000 channels. Everybody's streaming. There's so much more involvement when it comes to the internet. And social media has had a great impact on our young today. I mean, what I try and encourage young people to do is feel good about who you are. Don't let somebody on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or any of the other social media entities that are out there determine how you feel about you. You know, take the initiative yourself to feel good about who you are as a person. That's the biggest challenge that we face. I think the Y provides that area where you can get growth other than through social media. If you're a young person today, don't just get pigeonholed into that little area called social media. Be willing to look outside, and the Y provides that opportunity. From an athletic standpoint, from an educational standpoint, from an interaction standpoint. I tell young people all the time, if you have a chance to take a communication course in college or in high school, take it. Because you're going to send a resume out. You can send a beautiful email out saying, I'd like this job. Sooner or later, you're going to have to sit down in front of somebody and tell them why you're the right person for that job. And the ability to communicate is one of those things that's very important.
How do you think it would have differed if you were growing up in this time?
Oh my gosh. It's the same. It's like when I played ball. You know, with all the things that are out there today, when I played ball, it would have been a different world too. Society scrutinizes much more the individual. They scrutinize everything, everybody, everything you say, everything you do. In an instant, it's found out. You could do something in the Washington, D.C. area, and basically, maybe the state of California wouldn't find out about it for 2 or 3 days. Today, you do something in D.C. in a millisecond. It's gone viral. It's everywhere. Everything you said, everything you've done is gone. So I think you have to be very conscious of what you say, what you do. And to me, I guess it would have been fun. I mean, I look at the economics as a quarterback. Are you kidding? I mean, it's, you know, $35 million a year, and if you won a championship, if you were an MVP of the league, you might be able to participate in a very large payday. And I think it's great the kids are getting it. I have other guys that come up to me and say, "How can you believe that? We created the game. It was, you know, you were the guys that really made the game of football." Hey, life's about taking advantage of opportunities. There aren't a lot of quarterbacks that can play at a high level in the National Football League. That's why when you have one, you pay for them. And the going market is crazy. I mean, I asked one of the owners a few years ago at the Super Bowl, I was at a dinner with him, and I said, "Do you believe there'll be a $50 million quarterback?" And to my surprise, they said yes. I mean, the cap's going up to over 200 million, so, and you're looking at 50, it's going to be about 25% of the cap. The numbers are crazy, but you can't win without a quarterback. And that's why Miami's decision on who they want going forward is going to be interesting. But, I mean, you say you whiffed on Ryan Tannehill and Josh Rosen, but yet Ryan Tannehill had the Tennessee Titans quarterbacking them to an AFC Championship game. So now you have to take a step back and examine it and say, okay, why did he have success there and not here? So what can we do to try and get that same kind of success that we saw Ryan have? Could it be the fact that he's in the right system? Could it be the fact that Derrick Henry is an unbelievable running back? I mean, what are the reasons why? And that's what you really have to sit down and look at.
Well, also in this day and age, do you kind of think quarterbacks are maybe too protected or maybe not protected enough?
Well, I don't know how much more you can do, but other than not go to two-hand touch with the quarterback. I mean, I'm not a big fan of if a guy throws the ball and a defensive lineman pushes him and he falls to the ground, it's a 15-yard roughing penalty. I think that there's extremes when it comes to protecting the quarterback. Like if a defensive player comes in and swats at a ball and just glances the helmet, that is not roughing the quarterback. What I find so intriguing about football, and I understand that the value of that position is so important and critical to the game and to what the game is and the image of the game. But kickers are the single most vulnerable people in sports. And there's two designations for either running into the kicker or roughing the kicker. Yet with a quarterback, you don't have two designations. You have a roughing penalty, a 15-yard penalty if he gets hit a little bit late. I'm all for protecting low hits. Don't allow that. But some of the other stuff I see a 15-yard penalty. It's like, what are defensive people supposed to do? Playing defensive back in the National Football League is virtually impossible anymore. You can't touch anybody. You can't nuzzle up. Now, I will tell you this. There's 3 different phases of officiating in the National Football League. There is the preseason, where you implement different changes that you're looking at. There's the regular season, where now you've implemented those changes and you officiate them. And then there's the playoffs, where you let them play. I think, I go back a couple of years ago, I think it was Atlanta and New England in the Super Bowl. The New England Patriots had 1 penalty called in that game. As a matter of fact, this would be interesting. How many penalties do you think were called in this year's Super Bowl between San Francisco and the Kansas City? You didn't see many at all. They let them play. Why not let them play all year? Let them play. I think the game's a lot more fun that way.
And just kind of wrapping it up, because I know you got to get going. What do you think of kind of what's going on with the whole possible extended season? More regular season games, more postseason games.
I don't have a problem with the 17th game. They would take away one of the preseason games. Well, the starters don't play in that anyway. And even with 16 games, because starters don't play really through the preseason, the first 2 regular season games to me are glorified preseason games. That's really what they are. Because now you find out if guys are in condition. You know, come to Miami, play a home game in Miami in September. Let's see what kind of shape you're in. You'll find out in a hurry. Because training camp's only 17 days now. I mean, I wouldn't wish anything on the guys today that we went through. 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon, full pads both times. I mean, the best feeling I had was coming out in the afternoon practice, because my clothes were all still wet, my pads were all still wet, but they were in our locker room where it was cool. So as soon as you put it on, it was very refreshing, and then you got out into the heat again. Everything is different. Our game is different. The way it's officiated is different. The way it's presented is different. And I don't think it's bad. I think it changes with the times, and that's what you have to do.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate all your time.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it so much.